What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Social Wealth Podcast. We have a very special guest, a young gun, Stone Cold Stone Fredrickson. I just gave him that nickname 3 seconds ago, and I hope he likes it. Stone, how's it going, bro?
It's going amazing. I love the nickname. Appreciate you guys for having me on.
Is that
Yeah,
original
dude,
Stone?
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I love that. That's a good name. Not many people have that name, but man, we're super stoked to talk to you today. You've done exceptionally well. 19 years old, guys, and crushing the TikTok game, Instagram, social, like the social media, just as a whole. And something that you've done that has really impressed me is figured out a way to monetize it early on at such a young age, which we're going to dive into today. But just wanted to start with just some background. A lot of people know you, but a lot of people don't know you as well. So, who is Stone Fredrickson? Give us the
Yeah.
background story, man.
Yeah. I'll give you kind of the quick recap, and then we'll probably dive into some specific things. But pretty much all my life, I was just like a normal teenage kid. Like played travel hockey 6 times, 7 times a week. Went to school, played video games, and that was pretty much it until about freshman year. Got 3 hernias, so I had to stop playing hockey. Well, I only played like I stopped playing travel hockey, started playing just like high school hockey, fiddling around with that. But other than that, all the way up to junior year, that's when COVID happened, and social life really went to shit. And basically, I was online school, had a lot of time on my hands, and basically started thinking about what I was going to do with my life. And I during that summer, we would go out and play golf all the time because that was the only thing that was open during Arizona. I mean, during COVID in Arizona, and I was having the time of my life. But then all of a sudden, we stopped doing that because my brothers had to go back to work, my dad had to go back to work, and I was wondering like, why weren't we doing that anymore? And fundamentally is because of money. And so right then and there I realized like money controls your life, controls your freedom. So it's like, okay, if I want to do the things that I really want to do in life and not just like go to college, work a 9 to 5, I really have to master money and make money. And so I was watching a lot of like financial kind of YouTubers like Graham Stephan, Manny Koshman, Ben Malla, and I saw all these guys, in real estate. So I was like, okay, I got to get in real estate. But then I realized you need to be over 18 and probably have a lot of money. So I was like, okay, I need to make money. I was like 16, 17. I just turned 17 at this time. So I was like, okay, I have a year, maybe make some money. When I turn 18, I can get really into real estate. So I got big into drop shipping, e-commerce, Amazon FBA, did that for about 6 months. My grades really fell. My parents were like, all right, shut it off, focus back on grades. So that's what I did. So I had a lot more time and got really obsessed with compound interest and financial literacy. This was about, I would say like beginning of 2021. And then, I come back to school after being online for 6 months, and I hear all my friends doing like stupid ass shit with their money, like going out and, buying new clothes, new shoes, eating food after school every single day. And after, just learning the basics behind saving, investing, and building your wealth, I was just like, it was like scraping forks on a chalkboard. It was so irritating to me. And I was like, okay, being the entrepreneur myself, I knew that this was a huge problem, but I didn't want to be like the smart ass to go up to him and be like, hey, and rather than, spending that money, put it into index funds. I was just like, okay, why don't I just make YouTube videos, put it out there if they want to watch it. So started out actually creating YouTube videos. Those didn't really do well. I posted like 10 of them. Not one of them got over like 10 views. So I was like, all right, screw this. A senior in my high school had like 500,000 followers on TikTok doing like stock memes and stock trader and things like that. He's like, dude, you have amazing value. You need to get on TikTok though. So I get on TikTok about April of 2021, talking about like financial literacy, what I believe young adults and teenagers should be learning and doing, and like documenting my journey. And then I got a job as well, and I was investing my entire paycheck into just like index funds, and basically documenting that. Built that account to like 50,000 followers in like less than 2 months, and then I saw a major problem with like learning TikTok. I was like, oh, I think I have this thing down. I started telling my coworkers and my friends to like get on it, but then I realized I was doing the exact thing I didn't want to do with money, like telling them all what to do. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start another account to see if I'm actually good at this, but also to just like give them a resource to like look at. No intention of like blowing it up or anything. And started that account. Now it's Coach Stone. Like July of 2021, grew to like 100,000 followers in less than 2 months. Turned 18 on August, and when I turned 18, I filed for my LLC, built my company that helps creators and brands grow and monetize on TikTok. And then within 3 months, after taking multiple meetings with John in like the bathroom of my job, I started making close to 5 figures a month. And then once I hit my first 5 figure month, I quit my job. And then fast forward to here, we're building all three: my two TikTok accounts, my company, not going to college, and yeah, just got back from a trip in St. John and doing the thing.
Incredible.
How much are you bringing in now a month between your what you got
Yeah,
going?
so it's I'm sure, as you know, like in terms of being a creator, like it fluctuates. But like
low and high over the past like maybe
yeah
6 to 12 months. Like what was
yeah.
most
So
you've ever
like
made in a
last
month?
year, high was like 44,000 a month, and then low was like 8,000. So
Wow.
on average, at least 5 figures a month.
19 years old, low 8,000.
Yeah.
No
You
big deal.
probably can't. Yeah, you probably can't. Is it difficult for you to relate to people your age or some maybe friends that you had growing up? Do you find challenges there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, because like I started, now obviously it was only like a couple months where I could probably relate to them, but I mean, I was working the same job as majority of my friends. I was making the same money they were making. I was just making better decisions. Um, and but I will say this, like, I think I leveraged the online, like the COVID era, way better than other people. Like other people took that time of like being online to just like play more video games, go out and do whatever they were doing. I took the time of being like, oh, like I need to figure this thing out, and I have more time to. Video games are kind of getting boring at this period of my life because I've been streaming video games since I was like 13 years old. So I have some experience with like social media as just like a very young kid. And video games are just getting old, and I don't know. I just like I found a better why of like figuring out money because I really enjoyed spending time with my brothers and my dad, and them having to go away because of money was like a real eye opener for me.
Yeah, I love that. That's pretty cool, though. It sounds like, and this is difficult to see early on, but having the vision of what you want with your time and the flexibility to do what you want with who you want. That's what money can be used as a really powerful tool when used right, can create that freedom in your life. And that's pretty neat that, during COVID, which is a pretty crazy time in our lives, that you had that realization and simultaneously took action, tried out some different things. But that's cool that you adopted that mindset early on.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm grateful for it. And I think, everything kind of happens for a reason. Um, and obviously like with the COVID situation, I lost a lot of friends, lost a lot of relationships. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but again, I think like if I hadn't lose some of those friendships and relationships, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would probably be in college, screwing around, doing whatever every other teenager's doing.
Yeah, for sure. So walk us through, a lot of people listening to this podcast, Social Wealth, they're curious about how to build a personal brand, build a business, become an entrepreneur. But the hardest part for people is once you do build a following, how do you monetize, right, your personal brand? How do you turn that into, hey, a social media influencer, into a business person? What was that like, and was that difficult for you to figure out how to monetize, or did you kind of have a mentor? Did you just do research on how people make money online? And what was like the first dollar that you made online, and how did you go about setting that up?
So John was a big help with this. For those of you who don't know who John is, he's the founder of Stan, which is like a link in bio kind of platform. But he helped me out with it because he started creating content around monetizing, and I had two big audiences, and I didn't really make any money from it. And I was like, hey, dude, like you're creating content around this thing, can you kind of help me out? And so, yeah, I mean, we would, like I said, we would take calls like during my shifts, and he was like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, hey, I'm working basically full time here. Like I'm trying to make as much money as I can to invest compound interest, bro. So he got a crack out of it. But yeah, he helped me basically with like developing digital products and services. First dollar was probably a brand deal I had. I made like $500 for a post. And then in terms of like my business, first dollar I made was doing a one-on-one meeting with just someone random for like $24. And that, you know, now today, like I wouldn't charge less than $500 for a 30-minute meeting. So I think the biggest thing is like when you build an audience, that's the biggest part, is like you need to build the audience first. You need to build trust with someone or an audience first. That way you can evaluate that audience and the demand that you've built up. So like evaluating the problems and demands that they are in need of, right? So looking at your comment section, looking at your DMs, looking at when you go live, what they're typing, and just getting a gist of like the common themes, right? I'm sure you probably had a common theme with what you offer, and like people struggling to calculate cash flow of Airbnbs or whatever the case may be. So similar with me, like people were wondering like how to grow on TikTok, how to go viral, how to optimize their account. I kept getting the question, hey, can you review my account? So the common theme there was like, they just need help with TikTok. What's the best kind of solution for that? Meet with me directly. And so started offering that to my audience with a Stan store, and started earning money. You know, that might be for you. If for you, it might be an ebook, it might be a course, it might be a checklist or a calculator of some sort. Like it's really just what your audience, what demand you've built up, and then giving them the best or the most optimal like solution to that problem. I prefer digital products or service just because you know, high profit margins, very easy to do, very easy to offer, very easy to fulfill. There's really like, I come from e-commerce, and I had like physical products that I would ship in-house too. Like I didn't do just drop shipping, and so I had to deal with the product development, the shipping, you know, samples, and you know, all that. And products, digital products and services are significantly easier. Um, so yeah, I mean, I would go that route, but also there's so many different ways of making money online. You know, there's, or as a creator, you know, there's brand deals, there's affiliate links, there's, if you dive into YouTube, there's ad revenue. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking to build a business around your content, like I said, digital products and services are the way to go. You just needed to figure out what that kind of those problems are, and then give it with the best solution. And then around that, you can basically develop a sales funnel, right? So the optimal, or like a basic sales funnel that pretty much any creator can do, is like just like basically 4 steps. So like one is like a free opt-in page, right? This could be an email newsletter, this could be a free guide, it could be a checklist, whatever, just to give your audience something in exchange for their phone numbers and emails. The second thing is some sort of passive product, some sort of passive income product, something to give your audience value without direct like exchange of your time, right? So an ebook, course, again, maybe a checklist, calculator, something like that. Then the third offer is usually like a one-on-one call that they can directly buy from you. And then the last thing is like a high ticket offer. So one-on-one like program, or a group program or mastermind, something like that. It differs, you know, for every creator and their niche and their goals. But that's a basic outline that I think a lot of people can kind of, or a rule of thumb that people can kind of work around with.
For sure. Now we were talking with Peter Voog earlier, and something that you mentioned reminded me of that conversation was when you're building an audience, you have to, earn trust or build trust with them, because ultimately you could have 1 million followers, but if they don't trust what you're doing or think that you can actually help them, they're not going to buy anything. And I think a lot of people do make the mistake of trying to sell something before they provide the value. So having that value based approach is critical, and providing as much free value as you can, and ultimately let people tell you what you should sell them. I've had, we were talking earlier, I've had people do that before I ever made a single dollar on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, any of that. It was like a year and a half until I made money. And I was just doing like free coaching calls, free, just trying to help people, and they were like, why don't you build this and I'll buy it? And I was like, I don't want to build that. And they're like, well, you should. And I was like, okay. So I built it, and then the money started coming. I was like, what the fuck? This is nuts, Yeah. And then when you think the magnitude of scale that you can have on social media, that's what people don't understand. Value first, build trust, consistency, grow, and then let the people tell you what they want, and then sell it.
And exactly. And the cool thing too is like you can pre-enroll for something to like proof of concept. Like you want to make like a minimal viable product, right? So instead of making this huge entire course that you're planning on spending hours and hours scripting and filming, why don't you just put it on Stan? You pre-enroll for it. If people that say that they were going to buy it end up buying it, well, perfect. Then you can go ahead and make it and then deliver it. But say only 2 or 3 people buy it after you going hard promoting it, then no harm, no foul. Like you can just refund the money, save you a ton of time, and evaluate your audience, and then, basically adjust your next kind of product or service that you're going to offer, which I think is amazing to do. That's what I did with my high ticket program. I basically pre-enrolled and then made the course curriculum as we did the program, as we did the weekly calls. I just would add an additional hour, do a weekly call then, and then after that weekly call, I would just splice it up, put it in the course curriculum, boom. So I'm basically getting paid to make that program.
Yeah.
As you grow, especially, what are you doing like this month in March and the rest of the year to build on what you've already done? What's your plans to get to the next level and grow?
Yeah. So I this month specifically, I'm really just taking sales calls and enrolling more people into my program. Future, like macro, maybe this year or like next 3 years, is really scaling that up and trying to automate as much as I can. Like I don't want to be working 8-10 hours a day. I just came back from, and I've been doing that for the past year and a half, but I just came back from a trip to St. John. And, I think like traveling or just doing things that like are fun and that are experiences really open you up to what life has to offer. And it's not always just about money. However, I'm in a position to where I could, make a good amount of money without, spending, like I said, 8 to 10 hours a day. And I'm not looking to like make $10 million in the next 5 years. Like how I believe I can. However, that's not like what I value. I value like freedom. I value adventure. I value being able to, travel where I want to, buy what I want to, but, not always, spending a shit ton of time every single day making an enormous amount of money that I really don't need. So yeah, that's like the macro of it. But again, like scaling it in the fact of like, getting appointment setters, getting maybe, training sales people to operate the sales, or maybe even bringing on coaches under me to, to hold groups themselves. But yeah, I'm also really fast. I have other facets too. Like I have the other account that I'm doing. I have my podcast, I have my YouTube. So there's other things that I I'm looking to grow too, not just my business. And yeah, it's just, all of them I really love doing. So, which is a huge pro of it too.
Speaking of St. John's, how was St. John's?
What's that?
How was St. John's?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was the definition of perfect. The vibes were immaculate. I went with a videographer friend of mine, and he landed some jobs there with some businesses. So it wasn't like we were just like tourists. He was getting paid to go there. I was like, kind of low key helping them with strategy, so I might land deals with them. But we were getting a shit ton of content, and we were with the locals too, which is the pro. We weren't just some tourists. So yeah, I mean, it was amazing.
Cool.
I love that. Speaking of real estate, you mentioned before you had interest in getting into real estate. Have you started that journey yet?
No, I haven't really started. Just because I think like I probably need to build my credit up a little bit more, or I guess I could have my parents co-sign for me. However, I just don't really like having them, have power over me, because sometimes it's just like, I like having full control.
Yeah.
So I was like, and a pro is like, I'll stay living with them for another year, put some more cash away, and build my credit up. I think that's like a win-win. I'm in no rush to really get into it,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm planning to definitely house hack. Put 3.5% down on a duplex, triplex, quadplex, live in one unit, rent out the other units, live in there for a year, and then move out, and then yeah, have that as like a cash flowing vehicle for me. I want to do it right. I don't want to like rush into it when I don't really need to. I have tons of time. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think
So,
one thing that'll help you with the real estate front, and you may already know some of this, Stone, but you start pulling in that money, and then you see what you pay Uncle Sam. There's some major
Yeah.
tax advantages to real estate, especially when you get into doing things like cost segregation studies, which basically just means you can accelerate that appreciation of a lot of the property into year one. So it can bring your tax bill from this a lot of times to like nothing, depending what it is, right?
Sure.
We'll
Yeah.
set up time to talk about that another time, man, because it'll be some good strategy for you as you grow your business and your personal wealth for sure.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Stone, you probably get this question all the time. I mean, your story is such an inspiration to others. I know, Michael knows, there are 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds who make excuses of, I'm not doing content, I'm not doing this, or I can't grow a business, or I can't do that. And here you are, starting at, 17 years old, grown it to what you've grown it to. I mean, such an amazing story. And I mean, we hear, everyone hears Peter all the time talking about guys like you are out there, and here we are talking to you. So that question you probably always get, what would you tell even an older person, 40, 50, 60 years old, who are maybe making excuses for, they can't create a business because of this, or can't create content because of this? What's the secret in the box that they're missing that you have?
I would just say, don't let the bullshit story stop you. Like the limiting beliefs, or the thought of what someone's going to think, or the fear, or the insecurity. Like, I think so many people get caught up into their head with that, but also just like analysis paralysis too. And I'm a victim of it. Like, I could have started 3 or 4 months earlier. But like, I was just, analysis paralysis. I was like, oh, I need to watch more drop shipping YouTube videos. I need to buy this course and this course. It's just like, I just needed to start. And man, I can't tell you how many products failed for me. It's just like, people are just scared to fail, and people are scared to take risks, and obviously when you're 40, 50 years old, you have a little bit more luggage, and, I'm sure you'll be less likely to take risks. But I mean, if you're under 30, there's like no reason why you shouldn't be taking massive, obviously calculated risks, but putting yourself out there, you never know what's going to happen. And with TikTok, I mean, like I started in an environment that is all based around like popularity and status. And I was talking about something that was just not cool whatsoever, like index funds, compound interest. Like no one knew what any of this was. Um, but I just knew that information and what I wanted to put out and the impact that I wanted to make was just way more important than what I thought Susie was going to think of me, or John, or whatever friend that I had in mind. I was afraid of what they were going to think of me. It just, once I put two and two side by side, I was like, okay, like if this thing really does well, chances are I'm probably not going to go to college. If it doesn't do well, I go to college. I'm probably not going to go to college I'm probably not going to go to college where all of them are in that same college. So like, I'm not going to know most of these people in 3 years. Why am I going to let them dictate my life? Like, and that goes for everyone. I mean, all their lives, they let their parents, they let their brothers, they let their sisters, they let their friends dictate their life. And it's just like, you won't do anything meaningful, let alone live a life that you genuinely want to live, if you just continue to do that.
It's funny on this podcast, and I mean, even in life with content creators and real estate investors, what mistakes have you asked them that question, what mistakes have you made? I wish I would have started earlier. And then here you are, I wish I started earlier. I was like, okay, all right, and so it's funny. I mean, same thing with real estate. That's a question I get all the time. What's the biggest mistake you made? I didn't start earlier. And when I was 17, 18, 19, that's my biggest regret of, trying to start a side hustle and making those mistakes, because you learn more from those mistakes than you learn from the successes. And, I didn't start making my first mistakes on, trying to create this, trying to create that until I was, 25, 26. And so, a 7-8 year head start that you're having, I mean, it's going to be incredible to pull this like podcast back up in, call it 10 years and you're 29 and just talk about and like see where we're at and then see where you're at. And so, congratulations.
Well, I mean, I appreciate it. What's crazy is like when I started TikTok, I thought I was too late. Like I was like, oh my God, there's so much competition. Like this is going to be so hard for me, but I knew I was going to be telling myself that same thing a year or 2 years. So I was just like, I just got to start. And it's funny. It's like now people are like, now it's definitely too late. And I'm like, you're going to be saying the same thing in 2 years and you wouldn't have started. So it's like, you got to just start. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I mean, people, I feel like, hold themselves back with anything, with regard to anything in life. It's like there's like a mental block that most people have, myself included, a lot of the times, that limit your success because you feel like you're not deserving of the success in your mind. Like think of it like imposter syndrome. Even when you do, or when you're experiencing success, I feel like everyone has that, even professional athletes, celebrities, people who become ultra successful. You probably always have this inherent fear that, and maybe some people don't, but at some point in your life, you have this inherent fear that everyone thinks I'm an imposter, right? They're looking, oh man, you feel like you always have your back up against a wall. And I feel like that. I felt like that for quite some time. But as you grow and get more confident, some of that starts to wear off, but you have to get rid of that limiting belief. And my wife came up with this awesome saying that kind of became our thing a couple of years ago, which was, why not us? Like, why not us for whatever it is in life? Why not, build wealth in real estate? Why not start a TikTok account? Why not start a business? If you fail, who cares? I tell you what, the thing that changed my mind to get started in real estate, and this was like the pivotal moment that changed the trajectory of my life completely, was reading a book called Cash Flow Quadrant, which is more or less a sequel to Rich Dad Poor Dad. A little bit wordy, the book, but some good takeaways. The biggest thing was talking about how people view risk. Investing is risky, right? That's what everyone says. So what if no one books my property? What if no one rents my place? What if no one listens to my podcast? Well, what if they do? And at the same time, what is the risk of you not starting? That started to weigh on me. What if I don't make this investment? What if I work till I'm 65 or 70 years old doing something I hate? That started to weigh on me a lot more. And I was like, dumping my money from my retirement account all into this one property, taking this big risk at 26 years old, that didn't bother me anymore. It's like weight was lifted off my shoulders, because you have to think about, what if you don't do it, right? And why not you?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you succeed? Don't take that away from yourself. So if anyone's listening out there that kind of has that in the back of your head, like, just go for it. You got to give it a try, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, and one last thing I will say is and this I got from my dad, because my dad's a huge inspiration for me. He played in the NFL, so I was always, and he grew up in a very small town, and I was always, because I thought the same thing with the imposter syndrome side of it. I was like, how did you make it out of this small town and make the career that you made? And he's like, never compare yourself. So many people just compare themselves to so many people, their life, their highs, especially now with social media. People are comparing someone else's high with their low, when you're not seeing, that person dealing with what they're dealing with. And he said it very, my dad said it real good, in terms of how we live in Scottsdale. Like, there's so many fake people here in Scottsdale. So many people that like will drive the Ferrari, have a hot girlfriend, but little do you know that that guy might be bankrupt. That girl might be, an alcoholic. Like, you just never know. And plus, it's like, people have their own like life. They have their own destiny. You have your own. Stop worrying about other people. They're worrying about themselves, just like how you're worrying about yourself. Like, they're not really worrying about you or thinking about you as much as you think they are. And that's one thing that I did realize once I started posting, is like, no one actually cares.
Yeah. And people have a short memory. Some people
yeah.
don't. Some people will comment, hey, I saw you posted this. The numbers aren't adding up. I remember you posted this 6 months ago, and this was a little bit different. And I'm like, dude, I appreciate you watching my content. Let me just say that
Yeah,
first and foremost.
exactly.
But two, you're not making sense yourself. But most people have a short memory and they forget. And I think a lot of people think the opposite, and it sounds bad, but people are inherently self-centered, and that's not a bad thing. Like, you have to figure out what's going on in your life. You have to provide for yourself, for your family. So when you think everyone else is thinking about you all day long, they're probably not, right? Some people might, fantasize about Stone Fredrickson, of course, when they're going to sleep at night. But people have a short memory. So just going back to the whole idea of just like giving it a shot, and it does, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
When I'm feeling bad about myself, when I'm feeling down on myself, I just go to Michael's Instagram comments and I feel better instantly about myself. People just, people just are ruthless.
Yeah. It's like it's the love or hate relationship. A lot of people like my content, and a lot of people I just apparently I'm the worst person on the planet. You ever get weird? Do you ever get any pushback on your content?
Oh my God, tons. Especially with my first account. My second video got a couple 100,000 views, and it was like, here's some simple shit I believe every teenager needs to hear and do right now that will change your life. Trust me. That was the hook. And it was like, number one, get off your ass, get off the video games, da da da. Number two, whatever. Like, went into a couple things, and the whole comment section, the whole top of it at least, was like, bro, live your life. Like, you're young. You have to live like this and that. And then you scroll all the way down, you see like, I needed this, like, great video, amazing work, like, I'm going to follow you, and this and that. And what I realized from that, and what I got from Gary Vee, was like, negativity speaks louder than positivity 100%. And I also learned very early that I need, like, number one, those are the people that I want to impact, like the people that are still buying the Starbucks coffee every day, the new shoes when they don't need them, like, just all that, like. And also, like, I need them to engage with my videos to get in front of the people that need my video and need to watch my video. So it's like a win-win. And if they're gonna, like, I also got the compassion side of it from Gary Vee too. It's like, if they're going to spend their time to consume your content, and then feel the need to spread negativity in your comment section, like you got to just feel for them, like, because they're hurting inside pretty hard. Like, I've never done that. I don't know if you guys have. I mean, but like, some people that are really hurting inside, that's what they do. I mean, it's just they cover up for their insecurities by spreading negativity. It's unfortunate, but again, like, I flip that mindset of like, it's, yeah, it might be bad for them, but it's, it's good for me because it gives me the ability to communicate with them, and it gives me the ability to communicate with other people at scale. So that's the nature of it. And if you want to build a personal brand, Peter talks about this all the time. Like, if you want to build a personal brand, like a big personal brand, you need to be polarizing. Like, you need to convey your unique opinions and viewpoints, regardless of what people are going to think. Because that's the only way you're going to get to the people that are going to relate to you and resonate with your message.
Yeah, and if you just are the person that agrees with everyone else, you're not going to be remembered by the masses. You're right. You have to be polarizing.
Exactly.
I mean, every great politician has been that way. Every great leader has been that way to some extent. Entrepreneur as well, content creator. You got to kind of roll with the punches for sure. Well, Stone, what do you think has been the most helpful for you in scaling your follower base on TikTok? Any like just general tips of what you see, like the most common mistakes people make, or and I think things change too on TikTok. I mean, I've had experienced periods of explosive growth, and the past like 6 months, I think I've actually lost followers. It hasn't been like the biggest focus for me the past 6 months on TikTok, but I still put out content, and it's like a roller coaster ride. So just curious from someone who's kind of living and breathing it and teaching it every day.
Yeah. I could talk on this topic for days, but I mean, I think the biggest thing is like what I see from people that comment on my videos of like, hey, can you review my account? It's like they're making very stupid mistakes, like not even having the ratio, like the video ratio of like 9:16, and having like black spaces on the tops and bottoms. So it's like, I always say with that, it's like, if you're not creating content that looks like the content on your For You page, you're doing something wrong. And so it's like, and along with that, it's like, create content that people genuinely want to watch. If you want to gain views and followers, don't ask how can I gain more views or how can I gain more followers. Ask how can I create content that people genuinely want to watch, and you'll find an answer to that. The answer to that is, well, figure out who you want to speak to, so that way you can understand what they want to watch, and then figure out where they are and what they're watching, and figure out why they're watching it, and figure out how you can kind of mimic that in your unique way. And you got to put in the time. I mean, a lot of people just try to do it easily. A lot of people try to use a scheduling platform and try to, outsource it. It's like, you got to put in the work. I was working minimum wage job Monday through Friday, school Monday through Friday. Saturday was hockey, was, schoolwork, catching up, consultation calls. And then Sunday was my time to batch 40 plus videos for both my accounts, because I was posting 3 times a day. And, during class and during the little snippets of time that I had, I was always researching, I was always editing, I was always responding to comments. Like, you just got to put in the work and just learn more about it. I obviously put out a ton of free resources. I have a podcast, I have a YouTube. I put out basically everything that is in my courses and programs out for free. It's just people don't watch them. And then obviously there's the micro details of like having a strong hook, right? Like 98% of your video performance is going to come from your hook, right? Because that's where majority of people are going to watch your video. And if you're not going to get them engaged, it doesn't matter how good of value you provide them 20 seconds into the video, it's irrelevant if they won't get to it. So, have a good, strong, engaging hook. In terms of right now, what's going on with TikTok, I'm seeing storytelling doing really, really well. And a simple framework that you can do with storytelling is just format your videos like a storytelling arc. Okay. So like, have a hook, then a setting, conflict resolution, and then you have that like call to action. It's just like that storytelling narrative arc that we've all learned in school. And tell stories about your past experiences, people that You can also do challenges. You can also just document what you're doing. I'm sure you have goals if you're listening to this podcast. Do like a daily check-in of your or a weekly check-in of your goals and document the process or where you're at with your audience. Talk about, specific stories, or if you made, I don't know, $10,000 on this investment or $100,000 on this investment, like talk about that. And obviously be polarizing, like hit the trigger points. I always break it down. So macro, like simple things that people can take away is like, I break it down into three things because, after dealing with like so many 40, 50, 60-year-olds, I had to really break this down to really simple things. So number one is the value you are providing your audience, right? So education, entertainment, inspiration, things like that. Okay. Define what value you want to provide your audience, what you want them to take away from your content. Number two, how you are providing that value, right? So the energy, the tonality, the graphics, like what you're showing on the video, like the text, things like that, the hook, things like that. And then number three is the frequency or your cadence of which you're providing that value. How many times you're posting every single day, right? Those are the three things that you can control. Like, don't worry about the algorithm. Don't worry about views. Don't worry about followers. Like, just commit to 6 months. That's what I did. I committed to 6 months, posting 3 times a day for 6 months straight, no matter what, no matter how many views I got, followers I got, much money, everything. I just committed. And I sold myself on it. And when you do that, you're basically bought in, and you figure out a way. Like, I'm sure you guys have heard it. Like, if I were to give you a mission to make $1 million this year, and if you don't, like, your mom died, you bet your ass you're probably going to make that $1 million. So it's you just got to sell yourself on it. And when there's like a sense of urgency to like learning the thing and putting in the time and energy, and more importantly, when there's a priority, like I get the excuse all the time, like, I don't have time, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's just like, I don't believe in that. I believe in priorities, because I was at a point where I literally could make the excuse I didn't have the time, but it was just a big priority for me. And a lot of people, it's just not a big enough priority because they don't have a big enough reason or purpose, meaningful purpose. It's not about you. It's about your audience. It's about your message. It's about your impact. And yeah, and if you're thinking that you can't impact others, I'm here to tell you that beginners can help beginners. I was a 17-year-old helping other 17-year-olds and 16-year-olds that didn't know what an index fund was. So you can help beginners. And yeah, I mean, to focus on those three things: the value you're providing, how you're providing that value, and how many times, how often you're providing that value. And just focus on increasing and improving those three things. And it's a matter of when, not if.
Do you feel that the volume helps? I hear certain people talk about volume. Cardone, Pineda,
Yeah.
yourself. I don't post that frequent, and maybe that's probably why my growth hasn't been as accelerated the past like 6 months or so. I've had a baby too, so that's taken a lot of time. Excuses to you, Stone. I know. I got to step my game up. Priorities. But anyways, do you feel that it's more of a volume game versus like, hey, I'll post 4 times a week of like A++ videos, or do you think there's a balance between the two?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends for each creator. However, if you haven't even posted like your first 100 videos yet, yeah, quantity is super important. It's not just like to get your message out to more people, like to get more views. No, it's to improve you as a creator. It's very similar to going in the gym. If you haven't been in the gym before, right? Or if you haven't been in the gym more than 50 times, how are you expecting to squat 405? It's not possible. Like you just need to get in there, learn the form, learn the movement. Very similar to here. Like you need to get the reps in. You need to understand your tonality, your energy, your personality, your kind of style, and your process, your content creation process. A lot of people, like, that's something that you will develop over time. And I've developed it as I over a course of a couple Sundays of batching. So in the beginning, 100% is crucial. I think then on, like after you make your first 100, 200, 300 videos, I think will be time to then focus on quality. But I think, still at that kind of point in time of your content career, it's still a matter of like and not or. Like it's because you're always fighting for the feed, and if you're putting out more bats, the more chances you are going to hit a home run. I have a baseball analogy that I have that perfectly represents TikTok, and that is basically every single time you swing the bat is you posting a video. The form of your swing is your video structure. Now, you could be swinging the bat all the time and you can have a perfect form, but the pitch might be in the dirt, and the pitch is the algorithm. I know this because I posted 50, 60 videos on my Coach Stone account. Not one of them got over 1,000 views. But then I posted one more after that. That one got 1 million. And then I reposted some of those 50, 60. And then those got millions. So you can have the best content in the world, but you just might not be getting shown in front of the right audience, TikTok specifically. In which case, you just need to be trying new things and continue to post and focus on swinging that bat and focus on your form, and let the pitch and let the algorithm do its thing. Like it's designed to help you. I think a lot of people think like algorithms and especially TikTok are like against them, but I don't think they understand that like TikTok is designed to help you and they want you to help them. They want you to put out valuable content that's going to keep people on the platform out, and they want to match it with an audience you'll do best with to keep people on the platform, but to most importantly, incentivize you to keep creating content. So that way it's a win-win-win. The creator's winning, the audience is winning, and TikTok is winning. And so I laugh when people are like, oh, I'm shadow banned. I'm like, no, your content is just shit. And so, I mean, yeah, there's a balance, especially now that there's a lot of competition. Like you're going to have to put out some good content, but good content is obviously subjective, and quality content, the definition of quality content has significantly changed, right? It was like the YouTube, like high production quality. It was like the Instagram aesthetic, but now it's just like providing value in a way that people want to consume it and want to continue to consume it. Right. And so I always like say, like, think about your audience and how they would like the value that you're providing best articulated and created for them to consume it. Boom.
Love it.
Think
You're
about that.
You're talking to two ex-baseball players, so we're bought in, Stone.
Yeah.
I mean, you could give us baseball analogies all day. We're pretty fired up. I see Elliott laughing or smiling over there.
Love it.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, this has been very informative. I feel like we're on a coaching call with Coach Stone. This has been great, man. We appreciate you coming on. What are you looking to do next? Are you looking to start new businesses? Are you solely focused on this? And then I also have a question for you in terms of your network and how you've been able to meet some really great people. So I want to transition to that next, but just curious, like, are you looking to go just full steam ahead with the coaching business, or do you have other ambitions or things that are kind of in the back of your mind as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking to grow kind of my company with the coaching and that side of it. However, I think, it's just like, I'm trying to figure out a way to, well, I mean, I have a way, I just need to grow it, to really like scale it and, focus on other things. Like I'm getting tired of coaching people, that don't really want to be taught. And that just might be me getting in front of the wrong people and I know that. And so I probably have to tweak my messaging a little bit. But yeah, definitely looking to grow my company. But more importantly, like grow my other things, like continue to help people, continue to help teenagers. I just had a podcast with a teacher, and he's going to send it out to his classes. And so that's what fires me up. The money will come and go. I'm really just focusing on knowledge and connections, because I know that those are the two things that'll monetize forever. TikTok might get banned tomorrow. Like it just, I'm not really like, I don't have all my eggs in one basket, so to speak. I come from the diversification. So I'm constantly diversifying kind of my energy. And that's just how I operate. Like I love multiple things. I love doing multiple things. I know you're supposed to go hard into one thing, and Alex Ramosi is a big proponent on this. Like, hey, go focus on one thing and just go hard at it. It's just not me. I'm kind of like Gary Vee. I like 6 different things. But obviously I have one kind of vehicle that's fueling them. But yeah, I want to travel more. I want to do more storytelling type of content, collab with more creators like we're doing right here. Travel to do more in-person podcasts too. Basically take what I'm doing right now and make it more IRL or physical. I think that's the biggest problem that I have with my whole entire operation is that it's all virtual. And, that just isn't the best for my long-term kind of mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. We're looking, Elliot and I talked a lot about should we do our podcast virtual or should we do it in person? Because he lives in the Tampa area and I'm up in South Carolina. Eventually we may move it to in person because I love the in-person podcast. I just feel like there's an additional layer of connection that the people that are being interviewed and the interviewers have, and that portrays into the audience and who's listening. And I think people get a little bit extra bought in. Plus, it makes for a better visual experience if you're watching the podcast on YouTube or another platform. So yeah, we may transition to that in the future when Elliott moves back to South Carolina, back home. Just kidding. He's never moving out of Florida, I don't think. Maybe to Scottsdale. He's talking about Scottsdale a lot lately, by the way.
I don't know. It's getting a little busy over here. It's getting a lot of Californians. There's a major bumper sticker that says "Don't California my Arizona."
Yeah, I think that started in Texas, man. I lived in Dallas and Austin. There's a lot of "Don't California my Texas." So
yeah.
But anyways, and you did touch on this a little bit before, but part of the aspect of social wealth, right? The whole premise of the podcast is also not just growing your audience, a personal brand, but growing your network and centering yourself around other people that elevate you and what you're trying to do, and then you can elevate them. We're talking a lot with people around like who you surround yourself is who you will become. I mean that is pretty true to many extents. Talk to us about some of the people you've met through social media because you've established yourself as a content creator that you're hustling. You meet other people that are hustling and grinding and putting out great content, and then some of the impacts they've had on your lives. I know you talk about John who's a tremendous guy. We had him on the podcast several weeks ago, the creator of Stan. But walk us through. Has that benefited you to this point in time, growing your network?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. John being one, Peter being another. I don't know if you guys have heard of David Meltzer. He's just he's another person I got in contact with, and he's a great guy. I think the biggest eye opener for me, and I think this was right before I started Coach Stone and basically put me over that lever of starting it was, I was 2 months into starting Coach Stone and growing that account. Was Will I Am, the musician, kind of reached out to me, and I was like, oh, this is getting big. Because, I listened to him as a young kid, and I'm like, is this fake? And then, no, it was actually him. And so that was a real big eye opener for me. And then there's obviously,
what was the message?
A lot, just
no, it was cool.
It was basically you're very smart. We'd love to chat. And cool. we had a quick chat, but I mean, he's so busy, and it didn't. I didn't do so well. I got all flustered and fanboy, and I could probably reach out to him again and do a better job instead of maybe sending him an entire paragraph that he probably doesn't want to read. But yeah. So him being one, and then the other cool thing is, this was pretty funny. So I read how to win friends and influence people. And then obviously I've been in contact with pretty successful people, for a good amount of time now. And so I know how to connect with people, don't waste their time, provide them value, talk about them, remember their name, all that, so, we were at I was at a high school football game, and these NFL players that went to our high school came, and they have a podcast called Bussin' with the Boys. It's Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. And they came, and they were on the field, and basically I was in the front of our student section. We were hollering them to get them over there. over here. So we take a picture with him, and he and I'm like screaming at him. I'm like, why aren't you guys on TikTok? Like, this and that. And they're giving me all the excuses. Oh, we're too old. I was like, how old are you? He's like 36. I was like, I have clients double your age that are making double the amount of income and impact than you. He's like, oh, you're actually serious? I was like, yeah. And this guy's like first round draft pick, like Taylor Lewan is like badass O lineman for the Tennessee Titans. And all my friends or all the people around me were just shell shocked. They were like, what is he doing? And finally we exchanged contact info. And everyone was kind of shell shocked, but that was like the moment that I guess my friends saw me kind of in action. And it was pretty cool. And we got in contact with them, got them on TikTok, but also that's when they just signed with Barstool. So they had like a TikTok in-house team, and now they have hundreds of thousands of followers. And so it's cool just to see that, I wasn't able to work with them directly, but like just to see, at least just a little convo might have gotten them to at least think about it is cool. But yeah, I mean, there's, I surround myself with people like Peter and, with that, and you provide other people results, and you provide them with value, they are going to return the favor and provide you with value or connections. And I got it from Patrick Bet-David. Like, you're just one phone call away, one connection away, one cold text away, one cold DM away to absolutely scaling your business. He talked about, he got a referral of a referral of a referral that brought in 10 referrals and like tripled his business. And he was just like, yeah, if he didn't take that first referral, phone call, like none of that would have happened. So I'm a big proponent, like I said earlier, like knowledge connections. Those are the two things that'll monetize forever. So that's kind of what I focus on.
I love it. That moment in the bleachers. That's when you became Stone Cold,
Yeah.
Stone Fredrickson, right? Oh, dude, your boys are probably like,
yeah.
That's awesome,
a bunch of them were like, bro, get me involved. I was like, I was telling you to do this shit like 6 months ago, and you told me to screw off.
Yeah, now you have interest, right? It is funny though. I mean, some people kind of come out of the woodwork every once in a while, and it's like, hey, how's it going? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you know? It's bad to think, but sometimes I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of get to that point, and it's not that they're ingenuine or just genuine, whatever that word is, right? They mean well, but sometimes it's like people see that you're successful for a while, and then hey, like, haven't talked to you in a while, Stone.
Yeah.
Want to hang out, or want to help me?
Can I buy you coffee?
Yeah. Man, this has been great. We appreciate you coming on, man. Elliott, anything else you want to touch on today?
No, thanks, Tom, man. What an incredible story, and thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me, and it's been one hell of a convo.
Yeah, so
we'll
definitely
do a part
follow
2 in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, we'll definitely do part 2. Stone Fredrickson and Coach Stone. Where's the best place for people to find you? Reach out if they're interested in getting your help, getting some mentorship as well, whether it's free or paid. Where's the best way to find those resources, man?
So Stone Fredrickson on every social media. And then I also have that second account, Coach Stone, on TikTok. If you want help with TikTok or any of that sort of thing, making money on TikTok, just click my Stand Store on my Coach Stone account. And I got all my resources and links there. And then, everything is on there. I got a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts called Sticks and Stones. And I've been ripping that out for a solid couple months, and that's been pretty fun. But other than that, just Instagram is probably the best place to reach me directly. But yeah.
Love it, man. Well, appreciate you coming on. Keep crushing it. Yeah, man, it's been fun having you. World of an inspiration to many people out there. So keep inspiring and helping people.